Hello, it's Anya Divine here. Have a look at the links below if you want to know more about me. There we are. You know, to be honest, I haven't been putting the links on recently, but if you look at older videos, you'll see a little bit more. So this morning, I had set this up last night before going to bed to do something of those flowers, and I want to show you. I got this amazing set of chalk pastels from my friend Claire. Aren't they incredible? And they're Sennelier, you know, they're really good. And I also have oil pastels as well, so thanks ever so much, Claire, really appreciate it. They're looking very tidy for me, so I'm hoping I'll be able to keep them that way. We'll see, you know, that I'll be able to put them back in the right places and all the rest of it. But I'm delighted I've already found a nice colour for those flowers behind me. I'm just back from a swim at the reservoir this morning, and feeling really alive. There's something lovely about getting into the cold water, and the sun was shining. It was quite windy, but it was just glorious, you know. There's something really lovely and refreshing, invigorating about that. So I thought when I got back before having my bowl of soup, I would do a quick little video. All right, so this is some paper that I had painted before. I don't know what was on it, but I painted over it with some gesso anyway. And yeah, so let's make a start in this now. I kind of slightly feel the pressure's on somehow. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I've got these lovely new materials and they're so beautifully colourful, and I think, gosh, maybe I could make something really great. And I think that might also that might always be something that might hold back, you know, that feeling of doing something great can prevent anything happening at all, really, sometimes. So being aware of that helps anyway. Yeah, so I coloured in some of this patterned paper with I coloured some patterned paper with that pink that I think will work for the stocks. I'm just doing a short video here. You can still be there though. She's gone. Okay. Erin's working today. She works in Sainsbury's. And that's our little pal Maisie there, making noise. Alright, so just making a start with some collage and finding the position of the stocks. There's a third one actually back there. I might as well stick with the whole collage coming in. Okay. No, so that's that lovely pink. What next? I think I want to establish the greens again. It'll keep you see, I feel like I want to do something that's going to be a good foil for the brightness of the chalk pastel bright flowers, and so I'm using the oil pastel here to create some background green, and this might be down where the sunflower might be. There-ish. These two greens together are working quite well colour-wise, I think. If I had thought of it, I might have got the Indian ink out as well, so that I could make sense of these green shapes with the drawn ink marks. I think the stocks have got more of this sap green kind of colour in them, and even possibly some more kind of blues. Slightly blue green. Let me see if I can find one here. Blue green, you know, that even kind of grey colour actually is really what's in the stocks, I reckon. They smell gorgeous, those stocks. Now, there we are. Yeah, I quite like that addition of the blue. Okay, I'll leave them in my... So I had selected, because I didn't want everything getting really dirty, I selected colours that I thought I would use from the oil pastels, and I put them back in neatly after. So I'm not going to be cracking them or anything with any luck. Now, what was I going to do next? I suppose establishing the centre of that sunflower is a good idea. And I have a couple of ways of doing that. I've got the brown. Yeah, this is quite good, I think. This is the chalk pastel. I'll show you the cover there. these are extra soft. So that's even the colours beside the flowers work, don't they? You can imagine it making making a good set of colours for flowers. Okay, this chalk pastel is almost doing what I wanted the ink to do, and it's kind of creating some bit of order in the leaves, so I might use chalk pastel to do those lines with the actual leaf colour. Yeah. Oh, this is exciting, having a new medium to explore. Okay, now I think it would be no harm to draw with the oil pastel here as well. Is that right? I think, in order to just give a bit more clarity to that shape. And I want to go next to the well, let me try some of this. That's the oil pastel, and now I'm going to find a colour, and there's loads of beautiful yellows in the chalks, so I'm going to use the yellow chalk as well here, and maybe a kind of a more muted tone of yellow in the oil pastel to capture those petals that aren't quite as bright. Half closing my eyes to identify those. I'm gonna take her for a wander shortly. She's due a walk. There's too many sheep over near Gladhouse for me to take her to the reservoir when I'm swimming. She does like a swim, but it's just simpler sometimes to decide from my bed, okay, I'm gonna go for a swim and head off, you know, without negotiating all these different things. I think sometimes I got that from Atomic Habits, James Clear's book Atomic Habits. Sometimes it's a good idea to just let there be no friction between you and what it is you want to do. So for example, with yoga, you know, you'd put out your yoga mat the night before in order that you would automatically get up and just do your yoga or whatever. And with this, by the same token, I didn't want to start bringing Maisie to Gladhouse because I'd have had to organise, you know, it would just have been an extra thing to think about, and friction between me. There's something really lovely in the clarity of making a decision and sticking with it and just going. And sometimes that's unusual for me, but I know it's a place of I know that that's actually a place of ease when there's clarity. Someone said yesterday, I forget, I was watching, somebody said being clear is being kind. Maybe it was to Danielle from Remarkable Women. She said being unclear is unkind, actually. Being clear is being kind. And just that yeah, so I appreciate this. That was a talk about boundaries and things, actually. Or maybe it was Nick and Danielle run Remarkable Women, the website for they do wonderful work for women in heart-centered businesses. I think that's how they would describe themselves. I hope I'm not saying that wrong now. Anyway, yeah, so there's the sunflower. Right, now I think I want to do some something for this. Yeah, so I'm going to use the red oil pastel as a way to find those flowers to begin with. Gosh, that's such vibrant colour, you know. So this is the red oil pastel, because it looks to me like the ends of the petals and those big daisy-like flowers are a little bit more kind of, in places anyway, there's a rich dark reddish kind of hint to them. And then of course you've got this incredibly rich, vibrant orange, the velvety colour of the soft pastels. And I think I'll go for an even brighter orange there. And I think part of the beauty of these is the green between those bright petals, the dark green behind them. Yeah. speaking of dark green, I'm going to use some green soft pastel again in order to make a little bit clearer these little tendrils of leaves that are coming out behind the sunflower. Sunflowers are so lovely and wrinkledy. The leaves are so kind of just, yeah, they have that papery quality to them. And this is the oil pastel. You know, probably quite nice to inject a bit of ink into this setup as well, wouldn't it? If I had the coloured inks. This beautiful Scottish painter Anne Oram, who does incredible flower paintings, and she seems to put every sort of thing in. Ink and pastels and paint and everything. No, this one over there. Something quite nice about just drawing with this lovely chalk pastel as well. And then of course there's the darker centre. Now I'm wondering how to describe that. Yeah, it's actually quite dark in the centre, almost as dark as the sunflower is at the very centre of it. This is slightly lighter chalk that I'm using than the one I used in the middle of the sunflower, but still I think it's getting there. And surrounding that, to me it looks almost like I was going to say purplish. I don't know why. I picked up a kind of browny purple colour. It's not really purplish at all, but just a combination of colours. It's helpful to see the colours that I'm selecting from here, along with looking at the flowers themselves. You know, to be able to kind of hold, like I say, holding the palette up in order that you can select which colour will best describe what I'm seeing. And to try a bit more brightness in some of the yellows there. My goodness, this is such a bright palette of colours. They're gorgeous. There's more yellow over there. I'll just draw it. But it's really more, I think this yellow. That's the oil pastel now. And I don't want it to be so quite so bright over there, because it's sitting behind that. I think it's osteospermum, that orange. I don't know. Probably not. But anyway, for those of you who don't know about flowers, I might have got away with it. And then this purple comes down here to meet the yellow. So the stalk has its brightness, and it's also got a kind of a darker purplish colour that hides behind the leaves in places and comes down to meet that sunflower back here. I think Maisie's gone upstairs. No, okay. What else? Yeah, I suppose that green I was talking about, bringing the green in behind, bringing the dark green in behind those petals and in between those petals, and filling in some opaque areas of green, I think would be a good foil for the bright flowers. And some more yellow for that sunflower back there. Just more yellow ochre, really. And that's Maisie upstairs with the girls. Yeah. Trying to figure out what they're doing upstairs. Yesterday Lily bought some Wellingtons for Maisie. Can you believe it? Such a waste of time, like these yellow Wellingtons for a dog. I mean, why would you bother? Honest to God. Anyway, she just wanted to try it for fun, really. gosh, I'm putting the colours back in the wrong place. That's the start of it now. Right, what about down here? It seems like something is maybe needed. When I look at it on the screen, it helps me actually. If I had something water-based there now, that'd be quite a nice thing to inject some runs and drips. Just keep half closing my eyes. Or else what I could do actually is bring in something for the background in places that's, oh dear, I've just broken it, that's different from the pink. Just as a way to identify the space between some of these flowers here. And probably white would be, or a lighter colour may work better there, like lighter grey or lighter. What about this kind of minty? Nice fresh colour. Just want to bring some cohesion to things. I never stood back. I haven't stood back at all, hardly. Isn't that dreadful? I'm always saying about how important it is to stand back. And bring some colour in here too. This is probably really not how you're supposed to use these gorgeous materials, but anyway, I'm excited by the coverage I'm getting there. And I think I'll just use that line to draw that in other areas, just to bring some cohesion. It's like a stepping stone through it. And I think it could be there too. Okay. And then we've got the white oil pastel that might be a good addition as well. And as a final move, I would get something dark, I reckon, in order to go, in order to connect the dots in general. So keeping my eyes half closed here and just bringing in some of this dark colour throughout. I don't know if you've ever looked up the work of Bonnard and Viard, these French artists who make very colourful, beautiful drawings. The marks here remind me a little bit of the feeling of those, I think they were just after the Impressionists, kind of. But they had this real celebration of colour in their work. Beautiful. I'm just going to press in some red that disintegrated there, not wanting to waste it. And over the top of that red now, I could put some of that brighter orange and see would that give the feeling of petals. And maybe a final move, the underside of that. I think I'm kind of trigger happy with these, all the colours available to me here. And it might be quite nice to sit down and just play with them. Rather than, gosh, I've made a real mess, haven't I? Oh dearie me. I'm going to go back and re-establish the beautiful bright of the stalks with this pinkish colour. I think that was a good starting point, and maybe retrieving some of that will bring some of this back a bit, because it's almost like I've tipped the balance into chaos. There's a certain there seems to be a happy medium between order and chaos, and it seems as though this is veering towards the chaotic. And I want to bring back in some clarity. See what this one will be like. Yeah, well, I think actually it's the darks. I've said final move before, haven't I? As a final move. That was a lie. I think there's something about when I half close my eyes, there really needs to be more depth of tone in between these flowers here, I think. Something darker. So that's oil pastel now that I'm using a kind of Payne's grey colour. That'll hopefully fill in some of these gaps. And I want to get that really light. I think I'll just use the blue for that light leaf that's coming up there. Well, that was a bit bright, wasn't it? Oh, dearie me. Yeah, okay. Probably just going to stop. Yeah, I mean, it's okay. I might do a little bit more when I get my really. I might fill that area in with white. Well, why don't I do it now with this white? I feel like I want to make something opaque. I was going to use the white oil pastel that I've got in the studio that's really good for covering, that I don't have here, but maybe the soft pastel will be a good coverage, good enough coverage there. I just wanted to kind of subdue that a little. It's okay like that, I think. I'm bringing some of the lights in between these leaves here. Just to enhance that contrast again. Right. You know what? Now I'm going to stop looking at it, because I think the more I look at that, and the more I look at that, the more I want to keep going, and I think it'll just lose something. It's already kind of descending into this kind of cacophony of chaos, too, like messy chaos, like. But anyway, that's it. So thanks very much for joining me, and have a go yourselves. I mean, it was really a lot of fun. There's something gorgeous about using new materials. I don't think I'll be able to resist, cracking them and making a bit of they won't look so orderly maybe the next time. But it's certainly really nice to have them set out like that in the box. Okay, so I'll tidy them all away nicely for now anyway, and see you tomorrow. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Some makeup for myself. Bye.